Hello, Lynn Watts here with Wyatt the Wonder Dog Books. And today I'm going to be talking about burnout, counselor burnout. And I know that that is something that perhaps you've experienced, or if you haven't experienced it personally, you know other counselors that have. So before I get started talking about what burnout is, and then some specific things that we can do personally to prevent burnout, I want to share with you some resources that you can use that are going to help with burnout. Why are they going to help with burnout? Because they're going to help you organize your lessons that you teach, save you time so that you don't have to put them together. You can just simply even use a calendar that's already in one of the books and just go from there. So what I would recommend for you, if you go to my website, wyattthewonderdog.com, you will find a school counselor package of 3 books. All right. And so it is a combo pack. And let me just quickly tell you what the books are. One is the elementary school counselor's book of lesson plans. It's volume 2. All right. There is a volume 1. It's much older. Volume 2 is updated and has a better layout in it. Although I will say both of them have a calendar in the beginning, which helps you organize your lessons for the entire year. And then it provides the lesson for you. All of the lessons in all of my books are ASCA aligned. The second book that comes with the counselor combo pack is a small group guide. All right. And really one of the best ways to connect with students is as a small group where you can focus on specific topics. And again, this does the work for you. There's 8 lessons in here. Each one of them they're aligned with ASCA standards, but they also have an icebreaker. There's a journal page. So this is designed for a little older students, maybe 3rd grade and up. And also there is how to discuss the topic, an activity that you can do in the group. And obviously, depending on the timing of your group, how much time you have with those students, you can decide how many of the different things that you want to do. But it's all here for you in the small group guide. And then finally, if you use the Wyatt picture books, it also, the counselor combo pack also includes stories to learn by. And this is lesson plans for each one of the Wyatt books. And it, again, has activities divided up according to different grade levels. So you can use it in any grade. And it also has worksheets, just about coloring sheets, word searches, games, just about anything you'd want to do. So there's tons of information you can pull from. And I would recommend the best buy is to get all 3 of these books together as a combo pack. And that's only available on my website. The books individually are available on Amazon. All right, let's talk about burnout. I think it's important to define burnout. And one reason I want to talk about it is because I read post after post on different social media platforms from school counselors who are looking to change jobs. What would it be like if I go into private practice? What would it be like if I become the school psychologist? Would it be as overwhelming? And I think certainly those are options that maybe you might want to look into. But I also think it's important to do what you can about the job that you happen to be in and to recognize what is it that's contributing to burnout, and then what are strategies to manage burnout. So what is it? It's emotional exhaustion or, kind of counseling fatigue. And it's easy to see why this can be a problem. One is that most counselors in schools have an overwhelming caseload. It is usually several hundred students. That's not to say you're going to meet individually with all those students, but you have a responsibility, of course, to try and meet the needs of all those students in general through your lessons. And then also individually when there are individual problems. So it can be overwhelming for sure, especially if you don't have a plan for how to manage all that. The second thing is that I think many times in schools, counselors are used for many, many other things other than counseling. And I'm sure everybody feels that way. You know, if you're an educator, a teacher, you also do all kinds of things that aren't just specifically educating. However, I think it can lead to a lot of frustration and a lot of overwhelm when you have so many duties that are not really things that you came into the business for, so to speak, that you envisioned doing something different. And now the next thing you know, you're spending all of your time um, monitoring students during recess, doing, you know, car duty, bus duty, um, doing testing, all kinds of things that perhaps you were not really planning on having as part of your responsibility. The other thing that I think leads to burnout is that many of us as counselors come into it with what I would call sort of a helper mentality. In other words, we want to make everybody happy. We want to make everybody well. We want to help everybody out. We are helpers at heart. And it is a fact that when you're in counseling, many times you don't get the same kind of job satisfaction from helping others that you might get from doing another job well. In other words, counseling is a process. And so many times it takes a lot of work. It means changing people's perspectives. It means handling, you know, difficult and different situations, such as trauma that someone may have experienced, things that you have no control over, and yet you are dealing with the after effects of that. And so many times it's not as rewarding as we would hope it might be because we don't see immediate kind of success. So all of those things I think together can lead to burnout. Now, one of the things that I'm going to talk about in terms of a strategy, and I'm just going to give you one here in this video, and then in the next video, I'm going to talk about several different things, different strategies that you can use to help prevent burnout. But one of the main things I think is to know what your why is and then keep first things first. So you want to identify what your top priorities are. And I realize that as an employee of a school, you don't always have a lot of control over what you're asked to do. But as much as you can, I think it's important to know what your why is, what your priorities are, and when you're asked to do things or maybe even kind of find yourself drifting into doing things because you see they need to be done that are not aligned with your counseling program, your counseling expertise, then I think it's important to make sure as much as you possibly can that you're setting and keeping your own priorities. So some of the questions you might ask yourself over and over throughout your day: is this the best use of my time as a counselor? Given my experience, given my training, given what I'm good at, is this the best use of my time? And so I think it's important to have sort of a must do. These are the things I must do as part of my job, and things that it would be nice to do if I have extra time, or, you know, there's some free time, or there's a lull in the school year or whatever. And certainly there are some times like that for counselors. Sometimes the beginning of the year, your meet and greet with students, but you don't have as much to do as perhaps teachers who are getting a room ready and, you know, that sort of thing. So divide your tasks, if only mentally, in terms of this is what I really need to do, this is my job, and these are things that would just be nice to do. One strategy. All right. So as always, I want to say thanks so much for listening to this video, and thanks for all the differences that you make in the lives of children. I'll continue talking about strategies and even some books that you might read to help with counselor burnout. Thanks.